The Vegas Golden Knights are on their way back to the playoffs after missing for the first time in their franchise history last year, and I am very, very happy with the fact that they were able to do this, especially pretty early on in the season. I mean, they're only like the fifth or sixth team to do it so far this year, and that's very, very good news, and especially with all the things that have been happening. So I kind of want to just go on a little bit of a rant on, the Vegas Golden Knights season up until this point, how great they have been doing, but also what does it mean for their playoff chances, and what can they improve on in their final couple games in the push to playoffs? How can they improve to make it even better? So I have a question for you guys. What do you think is most important for the Vegas Golden Knights' success in the NHL playoffs? Comment all down below. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys, but let's not waste any more of your time. Let's go and get right into things. Back to the playoffs. It feels great, and especially with everything that's kind of been going wrong this year. You're bringing a brand new head coach, Bruce Cassidy, who has done a great job. You sit number one in the entire Western Conference. You're in a really good spot. You already punched your ticket to the playoffs with, a good chunk of change still left in the season, but you still dealt with a lot of issues and injuries, and especially to your goalie room. Laurent Brossoit missed time. You have Logan Thompson, who has now missed an extended period of time, came back for one game and is out again once more. You also have Aiden Hill. You haven't seen him return for some time. You have Jonathan Quick in right now. You even have Jari Patera, who played some games for you, goes back down to the AHL and gets injured right away. Lots of goalie injuries, but also for the normal lineup, Mark Stone's missed a ton of time. I should have a video out on that tomorrow. There's some news coming out. Great news, that is. Riley Smith missed some time, and Zach Whitecloud, I believe, missed some time. There's been a lot of people that have missed time. That's what comes with hockey, though, as we all know. And I think that's really, really important to get these guys back. But what's kind of been the biggest factor? That's the first thing I want to cover here, is what's been the biggest factor for success this year? And first off, I do want to say that a big factor was the goalie room. Although you deal with all those injuries, every single person that came in has done a great job. I mean, Logan Thompson was an all-star. Aiden Hill came in kind of as a wild card and turned into a top 15 goalie, statistically speaking, so far this year. Laurent Brossoit has done pretty well when he has been playing, although win-loss, maybe not so much. I mean, even Jonathan Quick, who was one of the worst goalies in the league statistically this year, you bring him in at the trade deadline, and he did great at the start. Now he's definitely tripped up and slowed down now at this point, but he was 4-0 to start. And his numbers, have not been great at all times, but have been very solid for the most part. And he led up a lot of goals to the Oilers. But the Oilers are number one offense in the entire league. And the next thing that I think was a huge factor in this team's success was the guy that a lot of people want to be angry at, and that is Jack Eichel. I mean, this guy right here, as you can see right next to Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Eichel has had an incredible year. And although he's had slumps, I think he had a 7-game slump without a goal, and he's had slumps, he has come through when you need him. He's had hat tricks. He gets the points very, very consistently. I mean, if we pull up here, I should have some stats of the Vegas Golden Knights. Here we go. Jack Eichel, 60 points in 62 games, nearly 1 point per game. And although, that's elite level, if we're being honest. That's a very, very good level. Maybe not as high of a regards as it was just a couple years back. Now that you're having people that are breaking 100 and over that. Connor McDavid, oh my gosh, that man is crushing the whole 1 point per game typical thing. But Jack Eichel, 27 goals, 33 assists, 60 points, plus 22. That is big, big time. 13% shooting wise, and he did all that while having like a 7-game slump without scoring many goals at all. And points were kind of a little bit of a struggle there for a little bit while, and he's still nearly at 1 point per game. And you pair that with plenty of other guys that are producing at a high level. Chandler Stevenson, 57 points. Jonathan Marchessault, 54. Riley Smith, 51. William Karlsson at 49. Wild Bill at 49 points. By far, probably my favorite player on this team, Wild Bill, had his best year ever in the inaugural season with the Vegas Golden Knights. and it was kind of slipping down, especially with the contract connected to it. Some people were saying that it's time to move on from William Karlsson. Well, he's pretty much reinvigorated his career, or at least this season, 49 points through 75. No, it's not 1 point per game. No, but that's still some really, really good numbers. I mean, Alex Pietrangelo also has 49. Shea Theodore has 41. And, Mark Stone had 38 in 43 games. So you pretty much had 2 guys that were at a point per game. You have, likely by the end of the year, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 guys over 50 points. That's some really, really good numbers from this Vegas Golden Knights team. And the offense has definitely been a big factor in getting this team going and getting wins. Now, defensively has been a huge part of it, but that offense gets going when you need it to, and that's something that's really, really important. But what's probably the most important thing? Playoffs. So what do the Vegas Golden Knights need to do through these last couple games here to improve their chances in the playoffs, to compete for a Stanley Cup? That's the thing we all want, is to see the team come home with a Stanley Cup. We almost saw it year 1. They were unable to do it, but they have what it takes. You have a great group of guys. Your top 6, especially when healthy, when you get Mark Stone back, is insane. I mean, if you look at the healthy top 6, you have Jack Eichel, you have Mark Stone, you have Ivan Barbashev, which has been an incredible acquisition since that trade deadline. You have Jonathan Marchessault. I mean, those 4 guys are already great. Chandler Stevenson falls into that. William Karlsson, I think, is on the 3rd line at this point, but he was on the 2nd line. You have a great top 6. All that along with, you have Alex Pietrangelo over there on defense. Your goalies, which I think is the most important thing in regards to general playoffs. As we all say, if you have a hot goalie, you're going to go far in the playoffs. We see that time and time again. Even teams that don't have great goalies, if they perform at a high level when it comes to the playoff time, that team exceeds what their regular season percentages were looking like. I mean, there's teams out there right now that don't have great goalie play. But if they turn that around, they could definitely contend for a cup. Now, I think a big factor in improving, at least for the Vegas Golden Knights, their playoff chances is going to be keeping that number 1 seed. You're currently sitting at the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Huge, because you're going to be going against the 2nd place team, at least wild card respectively. Wild card 1, wild card 2, you're going to be going against wild card 2. Currently, I think that's going to sit with the Jets. The Flames are also in the mix, and the Predators. Those are 3 teams. Definitely not excellent. I mean, you got whooped by the Flames just a little bit ago, but nonetheless, you want to go against those teams. You don't really want to go against a team like the Kraken. The Kraken just a couple weeks ago were in the top 3 of the Pacific Division. The division right now that might be the hottest or one of the hottest in the league. So you don't really want to go against the Kraken. Round 1. Now, you can beat the Kraken. No doubt in my mind. Actually, I think the Vegas Golden Knights, no doubt in my mind, could beat anyone round 1 in the playoffs this year. But once you have a tough battle round 1, and then you move on to round 2, you're already worn down, you might be dealing with some injuries, you're going to be tired, that's when things could start crumbling a little bit. So you would prefer to have an easier matchup round 1. Actually, you'd prefer to have an easier matchup every single round until you make the playoffs, or until you make the finals and then win it. You don't care who you go against. You take whoever comes and you go beat them. That's the goal, of course. But you do want to put yourself in a spot, the number 1 seed, to face the worst of the 2 wildcard teams, because they're in that spot for a reason. You play 82 games in the regular season, you're in the spot that you should be. There's no surprises. Oh, this team should have won more games. I don't know how they made the wildcard 2 spot. They should have been wildcard 1. You play 82 games, you end up where you're supposed to end up. That's kind of how I see it. Even last year when the Vegas Golden Knights missed the playoffs, they ended up where they were supposed to end up. You play 82 games. You had a chance to fix it last year. You just barely miss out. This year you put yourself in a great position. You already clinched. But nonetheless, you'd love to go against that Jets team. You'd love to go against the Flames. You'd love to go against the Predators. I mean, you'd prefer that over all of them. Now, you could still be the number 1 spot in the Pacific, but be the 2nd spot, and then you go against wildcard 1, which would be the Kraken. That would mean that, the Wild, the Stars, or the Avalanche take the number 1 spot in the Western Conference, And I do believe the Wild are 2 points behind Vegas, same number of games played, and they play each other tonight. That's going to be a great game to watch. I love watching the Wild play against Vegas Golden Knights, even before Marc-Andre Fleury was on the team, but especially now. 1-2, you want to be the best team in the Western Conference, but at least in the Pacific Division, because you fall to that 2, or even the 3, I guess it doesn't really matter, but you drop below the 1 in the Pacific Division, it's tough sailing. The Kings, the Oilers, and the Vegas Golden Knights, all 3 of these teams are pretty much at the same level, and they could beat one another at any night, and I wouldn't be too surprised. The Oilers, the Vegas Golden Knights are 3-1, I think, flip-flop, 1-3 on the year against the Oilers. You struggled against the Oilers, but I think they have what it takes. Matchup 1, you lose 4-3. Matchup 2, you lose 4-3. You win 4-3, and then you lose, whatever it was, 7-4. The most recent game, which was brutal to watch. Gosh, I get the hiccups. The Oilers, do I want to see them first round? No. But could the Vegas Golden Knights beat them in the series? I think yes. The Kings, I think, are in a really good spot right now. They upgraded their goalie position, and they're maybe not so flashy as the Oilers or the Golden Knights, but they're still a really, really good team. A team that you'd prefer not to face in the first round because of the wear and tear. You would like an easier matchup round 1 because that means you're likely playing less games. You go against the Kings. You go against the Oilers. You are probably playing at least 6 games. It might even be a 7-game series. That's a lot of wear and tear on you. You go against the Jets. They might put up a fight. You might push it to 6 games, but you'd probably expect 5. So you're at least in a better position in that category. So you want to put yourself in the best standings position. I think the biggest key is going to be your goalie, and I think it's going to be getting Logan Thompson healthy. He is the best goalie on this team. Over Adin Hill, over Quick, especially in recent weeks, and over Brossoit. There was some debate for a while, especially during the injury phase, where was Adin Hill better than Logan Thompson? I just don't see it. Adin Hill performing at an excellent level, and I think they could both play games in the playoffs. Perfectly fine with that, but Logan Thompson is that number 1 guy in the goalie position. You want to get him back healthy quick, but you don't know what the injury is going to do. For the remainder of the injuries, you want those people back. Riley Smith was in a non-contact today, if I remember correctly. Mark Stone, updates incoming. Heard some news yesterday. I'm going to make a video on that tomorrow. If you can get Logan Thompson back, if you can go get Adin Hill back, that's some big, big stuff for you. And then just get the offense rolling. It seems like lately your offense slowed down a little bit. If the Vegas Golden Knights can get that going a little bit, this can take them a very far way. And I still have the Golden Knights. And this is probably, I wouldn't say biased, but probably not the, norm. There's a lot of people saying that the Vegas Golden Knights are not as good as their record, which doesn't make sense to me. The amount of times that people are counting the Vegas Golden Knights out of things is ridiculous. I was listening to the Oilers game. Yes, the one that got blown out, and yes, that's going to play a factor in how people are talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. But the whole time, the commentators were only talking about how great the Oilers were, and we're completely skipping the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights were in a higher standing spot. We're outplaying the Oilers, statistically speaking, over the whole season in a lot of major regards outside of the offense scoring. But nothing to say. No one really says anything good about the Vegas Golden Knights this year when they're having an incredible year, and I just don't understand it. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are the favorites to make the Western Conference Finals. Are they my favorite to make the Stanley Cup Finals? I don't know. I'd love to say yes, but I look at this Western Conference, and there's a lot of great teams. The Avalanche got off to a rough start at the beginning of the year, and they turned it around. They look like a very, very good team. The Wild look insane right now. I guess we're going to see how that plays out over these next couple games here. I think you play back-to-back, one in Vegas, one in Minneapolis. Although I'm not sure if it's in Minneapolis or if it's St. Paul's where their center is. Nonetheless, you're going to see how they play. that's a really good team. Their goalies have been insane. Both Fleury and dang, I'm blanking on the secondary goalie's name. Sorry, actually, I think he's a starter now, and he has been playing incredible lately. One of the best goalies this past month. Sorry, I can't remember the Minnesota Wild's name. Comment down below because I should know this. Minnesota Wild look great. Avalanche look great. The Stars, I always thought the Stars were a little bit overrated this year. I expected them to kind of fall, and now they have fallen. I think they're going to still be in the top 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they're at 2, but I never thought they were the number 1 spot in that division. Those are some great teams. The Kings are a great team. The Oilers are a really good team. Even the wild card spots, at least number 1's Kraken. Kraken's a good team. Kraken could have been top 3 if they wouldn't have slowed down a little bit there. And that 3rd spot, the Flames are starting to click. If the Flames can get it, that's a good wild card team. If the Predators, I think, have enough. If they can make the wild card, I think they have enough to at least cause a little bit of stir. I'm not so confident in the Jets, but I could definitely be proven wrong. The Western Conference seemingly is loaded at the top. They look incredible at the top, and I would not be surprised if there's some big upsets in the playoffs. But I think Vegas Golden Knights are going to make the Western Conference Finals, and I'd love to see it. I'd love to see them go past that, but it's going to be all about who gets hot at the right time of year. But what do you guys think? What is most important for the Vegas Golden Knights in their quest for the Stanley Cup Championship? What's most important? And do you think that these players returning from injury are going to be a massive factor in it? Or is it a little bit too late to get these guys back into play and get them back to full speed? Comment all that down below. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. If you enjoyed this content, please like. And if you want to see more content like this, of course, you just clinched the playoffs in the Vegas Golden Knights. That means I'm going to have a whole lot of playoff content. And if you want to see more like that, please subscribe. It truly means the world to me. But as always, I hope it's taught something. Hope it made a smile. Hope it's something really important to me. Affects my day in a great way, because every single day can be a great day if you all just put in the effort. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.